I'm Barbara Fish, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about why I think creativity is important for kids, especially in schools. Creativity is like a bubble deep underwater. When we're first, young and accessible to the world, creativity just bubbles to the surface without any kind of encumbrance. It just flows easily. And that's why so many kids are involved in, drawing and imaginative play, because it really comes naturally to them. And over time, things happen that become impediments to that kind of creative flow. And we develop ways of responding to trauma and difficulties in life that are limiting and give us less choices. Sometimes people become really shut down or dissociative and depressed and withdrawn, and sometimes people become really wary and hyperactive and aggressive as a result of these experiences. What happens is the choices become more limited as the trauma becomes more ongoing. And I see creativity as a really important path back to the imagination, where we can envision new choices and start to look at life differently. It's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about the idea of the arts in schools. I've worked in residential schools before, where I've found kids that have trouble in many, many other places in the school come to art therapy and find it a place where they feel safe enough so that they can really explore and try out things differently. Oftentimes you'll have a bunch of really tough kids walking in with all their defenses, and 15 minutes later they'll be sitting at the table coloring and talking and more relaxed and able to start to behave in a way that's different than the way they're used to behaving. I worked in a hospital once with a boy who bit children and staff members because he was afraid. He had hepatitis, and so it was a really dangerous thing that he attacked other people. And everyone was vaccinated, and it was a very, it was a hot topic with the staff. We all had a hard time with it. And I found myself giving him a lot of space and not wanting to be around him without other people around. He was an adolescent boy. And one day in art therapy, he drew a picture of a boy being thrown in the garbage by God. And there were some other boys in the picture running away. So his feelings about abandonment and about his value became so clear to me in that instant, through that image, that I was able to get outside myself and my fear and start to understand why he was behaving the way he is. And that's one of the really important things about art therapy and images, is that it can help us understand each other better. I make images with clients and with students and with those art therapists that I train. I lead by example, and I really think it's important that we are true to our images in our own lives as a way of leading other people into feeling safe with their own imaginations. So I think imagination, creativity, and children should all go together in a fairly seamless way. But oftentimes when there's trauma, or when there's discouragement, or when there's loss, we find ourselves sort of estranged from our deeper ways of knowing. And I think that that's what I offer. I help people try to get in touch with the artist inside of themselves. The difference really between art therapy and art education is that art education has a specific agenda. There's really specific tools at each level of training that people need to move on to the next level. So in sophomore year you learn this, in junior year you learn that. Art therapy is a little bit different than that. The media doesn't necessarily change. What you do is you tend to focus on where the student is feeling a sense of mastery, and you build on that so that their confidence level increases enough so that they can kind of stand on that and push off to the next level. The materials and the skill level is not as important as their ability to use their imagination, problem solve through their images, and come to a different level of trusting themselves and the world as a result. I hope this helps explain a little bit about how I understand art therapy and working with kids. I'm excited about it. I hope you are too.